What's going on, everybody? You're listening to the Point2Point NHL Recap Show, Season 2, Episode 25. I'm Pascal Pryor, joined by Mark Haverlack. You know what? It's a beautiful Sunday today. The sun's out. We got playoffs going on. Nothing to complain about here. We're going to be talking about the playoffs. We're about halfway through most of these series. Some series already through 4 games, and we're going to go through and talk about each series. But before we do that, what's going on with you, Mark?
Nothing much, man. I've just been absolutely dialed into these playoffs. Like, this is like, I don't know about you, dude, but I was like driving home yesterday. I'm thinking about, I'm like, this is like the best time, dude. Cause it's like, it's almost like the beginning of March Madness when everything's just fucking happening. And it's like, dude, I'm off work today. I'm probably just going to chill and watch games from 1 until maybe 1 a.m. if I'm staying up that late to watch the last game. So you only get a couple weekends of this, right? Before we start dialing back the amount of rounds and games there are. So honestly, man, I'm in a really good mood because it feels like every time I look over, there's a hockey game on. So I'm pretty happy, man. How you doing? Mm-hmm.
Oh, dude, I'm loving it as well, man. Anytime you turn on the TV, there's hockey going on, or there's some sort of like hockey pregame show going on. There's a bunch of content coming out, like Spittin' Chicklets. I've been listening to them a fair bit. Same with 32 Thoughts, right? Like a lot of hockey content, but then also like other sports, like baseball's starting up, you know, getting in that mood. I've been to a couple of Jays games so far this year. You got NBA playoffs as well. So I think right now, this sort of stretch here and then the stretch in October when you have like MLB playoffs and then hockey, football, those sports starting up, I think those are kind of the 2 best stretches in sports, in my opinion. Let's talk about hockey, though. Again, it's Sunday right now when we're recording, so there's a couple games today. Let's start off with the first one, though. It's the St. Louis Blues versus the Winnipeg Jets. The Jets are currently leading that series 2-1. Mark, what are your sort of thoughts on this series so far?
Honestly, like I felt that, like going into it, I feel like we both felt that St. Louis was gonna give them a hard time. Sorry if you hear some growling here. My dog's just kind of below me trying to play. I thought that St. Louis was gonna give a really hard fight in this series just because of how they kind of recapped the season there. They didn't have Colton Parayko either for, I think, that full 13-game winning streak, or at least 75% of it. I'm going to be honest, I haven't really been too impressed with him in this year's playoffs, though, so far. But I think that the Jets haven't looked as impressive as I thought they would, to be quite honest with you. And I think that St. Louis really took it to them at home there in Game 3. I thought that the Blues definitely had a chance. Dude, like there's an argument to be made in a couple of these series that like even the lower seed could be up like 3-0. Like the Blues could be up 3-0 in this series and they're down 2-1. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you had that first game with, was it the last minute winner, or it was pretty close to being the last minute? You had Game 2 where it was just a tight 2-1 game. St. Louis could have tied it. I've been really impressed with the Blues, dude, to be quite honest with you. I don't know if they have enough to push and win this series. I think that it's going to really be up to, like, how is Hellebuck going to play in the defense in Winnipeg? Like, that St. Louis building was rocking a couple days ago, man. I think it's going to be a whole different story if they're able to win this Game 4 today and go back at 2-2. I don't know. How do you feel, dude? Like, I kind of think that this might go 7 now, but I am still a little bit I'm still pretty optimistic about Winnipeg just rebounding, because I think like we talked about, one of their mottos this year was kind of like, don't get too highs with the highs and don't get too lows with the lows, right?
Yeah.
So I think we're really going to see how much that comes into effect in this game today, because they got pummeled, dude, in Game 3.
Oh,
but they also had an extra day off. They've had an extra day off to kind of figure out what they did wrong, just get over it. You know what I mean? So I don't know, man. I still think Winnipeg's going to win this series, but St. Louis is putting up a hell of a fight right now.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. Like, so far, St. Louis has done a pretty good job. Like, both Game 1 and 2 were pretty close games, right? Like, St. Louis could have snuck out with a win there, and this is a totally different series that we're talking about, right? But Hellebuck, he looked good early on in the series. Of course, game three, he didn't look the best. Overall, Winnipeg didn't look the best, right? Like, I don't think you can really put that loss on Hellebuck, but let's be real. He didn't look at the top of his game in game three. I think whatever the outcome is today is going to massively decide if this series goes to 7 games or if it's more of a 5 or 6 game series. To be honest, I do see Winnipeg winning today and it more being a 5 game or 5-6 game series. Like, just having that extra day off for Hellebuck and for the team to regroup, recover a little bit. And then the other thing too is for St. Louis, like, for them to win today, you're going to need to win back-to-back games against Connor Hellebuck, right? Like, I think Connor Hellebuck's going to have a big bounce-back game today. I could see him only allowing a 1 goal and Winnipeg running away with a win here. Yeah, it's in St. Louis and they have the home ice advantage. That barn is going to be packed. It's going to be loud. Like, it is going to be a hard game, but I do think Winnipeg will be able to sneak out a win here in game 4 and then most likely wrap it up with in either game 5 or 6. I will say though, if St. Louis wins today's game, I think this series is going 7 games without a doubt.
Yeah, the thing is that I totally see them winning today. Like, it could happen, right? The momentum they've had from the last game, it just feels like home ice really matters in this series right now. So that's why I'm not kind of like, okay, even if they win today, it's like they're 2 out of 3 on the road. And like the whiteout, that's a pretty hard building to play in. Yeah. So it's just like I don't know. Like, it would be hard for me to think that. Maybe if it was like they took 1 in Winnipeg and you know what I mean, like earlier, I'd think different. But I still have a hard time thinking that St. Louis is going to win this series. But hey, dude, like the way they've been playing, like they could. Like, it's not impossible here at all. One thing about this series too that I think is pretty interesting. There has been no game, as far as I know right now, that a team has hit 30 shots in a game.
That's pretty wild.
So last game, shots were 28-19 St. Louis. Game 2, it was 22-22. Game 1 was missing here. St. Louis had 17. Winnipeg had 25. So we haven't seen 30 shots in a series yet. That's why also I feel like they're like, yes, Hellebuck hasn't been good, but I'm going to be honest with you. I've been completely fine the way Binnington's been playing. Yeah. And it's like, you look at his save percentage, he's got like an 870 because it's like he lets in 3 goals on 20 shots and it plummets his numbers. But I think Binnington's been the better goalie, to be quite honest with you, throughout the duration of this series. We'll see if he can keep outplaying Hellebuck here, dude, because it does make me nervous the way Hellebuck's playing. Like, yeah, you said last game, it's whatever. Dude, he didn't start that good in game 1 either. Like, he let in 3 on 10 shots in the first period. And I know it all hasn't been his fault, but at the same time, the one thing I will say is if Connor Hellebuck was playing like Connor Hellebuck, even if there was kind of goals that were expected to go in, he would make the save on them some of the times, right? And he hasn't been doing that at all. So I don't know, man. He's debatably the best in the world. We'll see how strong his kind of like mentality is in this series. And we'll see if kind of history repeats itself or if he's able to get over that. But I feel like we'll get into the next round at like probably next episode or whatever. But even if they win this series, I'm not really optimistic about the Jets that much heading into round 2.
Yeah, I'd agree with you there. The one thing I think that is helping out the Jets, though, is that they are a bit beat up, right? Like Ehlers, he's dealing with something. Gabe Vilardi, he's missed time, and he is expected, or he is going to be a game time decision for game 4 today. So
that's the thing too. I've been thinking they haven't had 2 top 6 forwards, man. Like it's
like if they get those guys back and they're playing good, like really well, like I think that completely changes the narrative for Winnipeg. Like, do you think it is likely that Vilardi and Ehlers could come back and they're both popping off and it does change things for Winnipeg, or do you just think if they come back?
I think it's definitely possible, dude, because I think too, I feel like it'll depend where they're being inserted in the lineup. I do think that it's quite possible though, because we haven't really talked about it, dude. Like Connor and Scheifele, those guys have been really good in this series. Like it's not like their top end scoring has dried up by any means. You know what I mean? So I think as well as good as Alex Iafallo has been, He's been up on that first line now, I think, for about 10 games since those guys have been hurt. I think he's got something like 8 points. Ideally, you'd think that probably wouldn't kind of keep up. So if you bring back an Ehlers or a Velarde, you shift the lineup a bit, but it's like, dude, Velarde's going to be back in the top 6. He's probably going to be on the first power play again. So it's like, I feel like it could be a pretty impactful ad with him coming back, because he had a hell of a year too, Velarde.
Yeah.
Like, so I don't know. That's why I'm just like, I don't know. Is Ehlers going to even be back in this series? Is that more of a question, depending how long it goes?
I think that's more of a question depending on how long it goes. I haven't really seen too much of an update with him. The only one I've really seen is the Velarde game time decision. So, like, if he's not, like, Velarde, there's still a chance he's not playing here in Game 4. But if he doesn't play in Game 4, I would sort of assume that he would be in for Game 5, right? Unless the Jets are up in a 3-1 series. And then it's like maybe we sit him. But like Velarde, he's going to return for sure at some point here within the next few games for Winnipeg. And then Ehlers, I haven't heard too much, but if he does return, like if both these guys return, that's massive, because that completely changes their lineup from what it is right now, right? Like you mentioned, Iafallo, he's been pretty good there playing on the first line, and that maybe it doesn't keep up, but hey, like if it does keep up, that's really good, because Winnipeg will be able to have some depth, right? Like right now, I think the biggest lack for Winnipeg is they are missing a bit of that depth scoring right now. When you get Velarde and Ehlers back, that's gonna help them out, because you're gonna have guys lower in your lineup that you're having to move down now that can score, right? Like I follow when Ehlers and Velarde return, he's probably gonna be playing on the third line, maybe the fourth line, right?
Dude, he might even be on the fourth line.
Yeah, so it's like right there. That's a massive change and a massive boost for Winnipeg, being able to get back Velarde in the lineup or Ehlers and have them playing on the first power play, playing those big minutes. Plus, then you're also able to move a guy who's been really good recently down to the third or fourth line and boost that line as well, right? So I think if these guys return, honestly, Winnipeg's going to have a hell of a chance of winning this series.
Before we move on to another series, I want to say one thing. I can't believe that Cam Fowler has 7 points in 3 games.
Yeah.
He's been playing unbelievable, dude. It's mind-boggling, dude. Like, he's got over 2 points a game right now.
Yep.
So, honestly, dude, hell of an addition for them, bringing him in mid-year. And the one thing I wanted to say, dude, I feel like we did not give Doug Armstrong enough respect to win the GM of the year.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Like,
man.
the Fowler move, the Montgomery move, Holloway and Broberg, like standing pat at the deadline when they could have sold Braden Shen. Teams are even calling about Binnington. Like, he could have potentially had this team take a step backwards to accumulate some assets, and he decided not to. And fuck, dude. Honestly, I just wanted to say that because, like, I feel like looking back now, like, having him not in at least the top 5 of our GM of the years might be a little bit insane. But, like, yeah. I just wanted to give those guys kudos. Give Cam Fowler kudos, man. This guy's still got it. Like, he's playing 20-plus minutes a night, 7 points in 3 games. Like, I'd be interested to see this Blues team move on. I'm not really 100% convinced it could happen. I think it's a really good story so far, but I think they still got a long ways to go.
Yeah, I agree with you, but even the Snuggerud signing that, like him signing at the end of the year, that's helped them out.
That goal in Game 2, dude. Did you see that shot?
Dude, he's performing pretty well, and this is a guy that when we were talking about him signing, we thought he'd be playing lower in the lineup, not being up on the first line. We didn't know how much of an impact he would be making in the playoffs, and he's here and he's making an impact, right? So even that, like that's definitely a boost for St. Louis, and good on Armstrong for getting him to the NHL and seeing that talent.
Yeah,
because like Doug Armstrong,
if they get Holloway back too.
Yeah, because Doug Armstrong, though, he could have gone to Snuggerud and been like, look, like, we're going to play you a couple games in the regular season. We think it'd be better to send you down to the AHL for their playoff run or for their end of the season. But, hey, he's seen that talent, and he's got him in the team, and he's producing. And it's definitely a boost for the St. Louis Blues. Let's talk about our next playoff series. It's the New Jersey Devils versus the Carolina Hurricanes. Carolina's currently leading the series 2-1. Again, they play as well today too, so this could be a whole different series here. By the end of the day, Mark, what are your what are you seeing with this series?
I feel like New Jersey minus game one is probably played a little bit better than I expected, to be quite honest with you. I thought even though they lost game two, like there was a pretty good amount of stretches in that game where I felt like they were the better team. Saying that though, I think that Carolina is probably going to still walk through this pretty easily. One guy I want to give kudos to that I thought maybe not performing well, buddy. Jacob Markstrom's been good in this series, like
Yeah.
really good. He's given them a chance, and like I said, remember what you asked me? You said what is going to have to go right for this team to actually win this series? Well, Jacob Markstrom is the number one on that list. Like, and to be honest, he's been playing great. He's given them a chance every single night. Obviously, that double OT game could have went really either way. You see that goal, dude? That was a nice fucking play by Nemec. Jesus. Like, the way I think the Carolina D was pretty nonchalant about that. Like, I felt like they thought he was probably going to pass or, like, I don't know, but, like, kind of makes a nice cut in the zone there. Like, not even the greatest shot, but just, like, through the armpit.
Yeah.
Given the Devils life with game four here, man, like, it's like, I still don't think they have a chance at all to come back, to be honest. But I can't say that I don't think they'd be playing as well as they have through the first three games, even though they were absolutely dominated in game one.
Yeah, I still think this series is ending in 5 games. The Devils, they got away with the win. It was still a close game though, right? Like it was a double OT win. One bounce here, one bounce there. Carolina picks up that win, right? So it could be a 3-0 series right now if there's a couple different bounces. I just think when you look at Carolina, their overall team structure, the way they play hockey, I think New Jersey's going to have a really hard time winning another game here. Yeah, and the other thing too is like you mentioned Jacob Markstrom and how well he's been in this series. On the other side, dude, Frederik Andersen, he's been very, very good as well. Yeah,
no, he has for sure.
Part of it is the team that plays in front of him, right? Like they're not giving up a lot of high danger scoring chances, but he's been doing his job, and that's all Carolina really needs. And we've seen it from seasons past. Like they don't need Freddie or Kochekov to come in there and be completely bailing them out, but they're getting the big saves when they need it from their goaltending. And I just think at the end of the day, when you sort of look at how this series has gone, when we sort of looked at it going into the series, I think it's sort of playing out how we thought. I think New Jersey is putting up a bit more of a fight, but at the end of the day, I think Carolina's just too loaded and New Jersey's too depleted, too injured to really put up a fight here.
Would you feel different if New Jersey won tonight?
If New Jersey won tonight, I would start to feel a bit different. I still think Carolina's winning the series, though.
Okay. Sorry, you go ahead because I'm going to kind of change the topic a tiny bit, but still talk about this series.
Like I just look at it. It's like, man, like when you have Logan Stankoven playing on your third line, like that's pretty nasty. And then it's like, man, like there's not much scoring there on New Jersey, right? Like I feel like you're gonna have to rely on Bratt, Meyer, and Hischier way too much here. If New Jersey,
well, Bratt's been really good.
He has.
Bratt's been really good. Meyer has not.
But it's like he can't be the only guy, especially against a team like Carolina, where you're playing man-on-man defense, right? Like they need some scoring to come for somewhere else. And when I'm looking at this New Jersey lineup, dude, I'm having a hard time finding where these goals are going to come from.
Yeah, and the thing is too, it's like also on defense, like Dylan's out, Luke Hughes is out now, Siegenthaler's back, which is good, but they're still not looking like they're in a good situation.
Kovacevic is a bit bumped up, like he's still playing, but he's dealing with something.
Half their D-core is like non-existent right now, it feels like. So, all right, dude, the one thing I wanted to bring up with this series, you might think I'm crazy, but I'm going to be honest with you, it has nothing to do with his play. But today, I'm going to Pyotr Kochekov.
You are. And
I am
what's your
because
thoughts behind this?
okay, so what I think is okay. Freddie, when he played game 1 to game 2, I don't know. I believe it was either the first time since November or the first time this season that Freddie has started back-to-back games. He's now started 3 in a row. We know his health history. To be honest with you, with Freddie, he plays better when he's rested. He's coming off playing 3 games in 6 nights, one of them where he went to double OT.
Yeah.
Last year, they basically ran him all round 1, and then round 2 against the Rangers. He played most of it, but he let in a bunch of squeakers, and a lot of people thought it had to do with fatigue. I think this is a perfect time to put Kochetkov in. I'm going to be honest with you. I probably would have actually started him in game 3. I just think you throw Kochetkov in on the road. If you lose, you're still at 2-2. Freddie's rested. You don't really have a question mark about Freddie, and you can easily go back to him. I just think if you bring Freddie out today, if you play him today, maybe he doesn't play well, you'll lose. I'm not very high on Kochetkov. I'd be very nervous about him starting game 5 in a 2-2 series, to be honest with you. After losing 2 in a row, I just think today you can kind of do it. And it's not even a guarantee that Kochetkov is going to play bad. Like, you know what I mean? But it's just like I feel that I don't think Freddie can start all 7 games if it goes to 7 and then potentially move on and be starting the next series. I think because of his history, we've shown that he can either do it and the fatigue sets in and his play goes downhill, or that he'll just get hurt playing out. So I just don't believe that he can start all 7 games if it goes there in this series. I would have honestly given Kochetkov game 3, but I would give Kochetkov game 4 today. That's just the way I look at it. It's a bit different than other goalie situations, but I think that when you know and you've seen kind of these consistencies from this guy, that you kind of need to make the move and do it when he starts showing fatigue. Because, dude, think about it. Like, that game went to double OT last game, dude. Like, he's played almost 3.5 games. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like I wouldn't risk it, in my opinion. Because, dude, what if he goes down in the middle of game 4, game 5, and then you're like, oh, fuck, now we legitimately have to rely on Kochetkov. Like, you know what I mean?
I'm going to be honest, dude. At the start, you kind of had me lost, but the more you went on there, the more you flipped me over. When you said the whole, because I was kind of thinking, would you start Anderson today, and then if it's a win, then you're putting in Kochetkov game 5, and you're up 3-1, right? But your whole point to, if you lose today with Freddie, and then you're starting Kochetkov in game 5 when it's 2-2, I think it's a lot safer to take the loss with Kochetkov today and then have your number 1 going in to get that.
And think about it too. Like, say Kochetkov goes in today, say they win, you can go back to Freddie because he's been your guy. Say Freddie loses and doesn't play well. Well, to be honest with you, depending on how he really plays, you can go back to Kochetkov in game 6, dude, and you're still up in the series.
The other thing too is game 5 to game 6, they have a bit more days off. Game 5 is on Tuesday. Game 6 is on Friday. So there's a bigger rest period there as well, which kind of lines up.
Yeah, like if you even wanted Freddie to go back to back 5 to 6, yeah. I don't know, man. I'm just I think like a goalie, I like Freddie a lot. I think he can perform well, but I think when he legitimately takes like a starter's role, it just diminishes him a bit. You know what I mean? The fatigue sets in, or he just gets hurt. So I don't know. If Carolina wants to go on a long run, I think they're going to have to utilize both goalies here.
Yeah, and we really have seen that with Freddie's entire career, like going back even to the Leafs, right? Like that was the thing with him, man. Like he was good, he was reliable, but you couldn't rely on him to be a true number 1 because he'd either get injured or his play would dip because he was playing too much.
His best time in Toronto was like the first 2 years when he actually played like 55 games and he was playing really well. And then he started just getting injured a lot and not playing terrible, but I mean, he just couldn't be relied upon as much as he was in the past.
Mark, let's move on to your Montreal Canadiens. They're playing today as well. They're the 3rd game of the day. The Washington Capitals, they're currently leading that series 2-1. It's been a close series, man. I've liked what I've seen, to be honest. Like that game three, to get the win in game three at home for you guys, that was massive. Game four today, it's gonna be a big one. Bit of question marks here with Logan Thompson. He was at morning skate, but I think he's more likely going to be closer to a game time decision on it if he's playing or not. I wouldn't be surprised if they went with Lindgren here. Sam Montembeault on the other side, he's not playing, that's for sure. Your Montreal Canadiens pulled up Caden Primo. What have your thoughts on this series been so far, though?
Man, I actually think that the Canadiens have been fighting pretty good here. I do think probably for more the majority, though, like, or maybe it might be even now considering the last game, like Washington has been the better team at a lot of points in this series, to be honest. But the thing is Montreal's fought back pretty well in every game, I'd say, like game one, down 2 in the third. Like, to be honest with you, dude, like, Washington they weren't dominating the Habs in game one, but they were just the better team for most of the game. Like, you're going into third down 2-0. I'm going to be honest, it was just one of those games you felt as a fan. It was like, man, like they're playing pretty good D. Their goalie's playing really well. Like, I see this kind of ending as like a 2-0, 3-0 empty netter. You know what I mean? But man, they fought back, forced OT. I'll be honest with you, I don't like to complain about the refs. I think a very questionable non-call in overtime to lead to that icing. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about or not. With Laine.
I kind of missed that one.
Did you see? So basically, what happened was Laine missed the chip in to get in the zone. They went back down the other way. Gouli got the puck behind the net. He skated up. Laine was on our side of center, kind of waiting with his back to the defenseman, waiting to receive the pass. He was obviously backing up while he was skating. It was kind of like more or less he was trying to like Gouli to pass it, a little chip in the zone. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Probably go off for a change. As the puck is getting to Laine, Matt Roy, he makes the commitment not to play the puck and goes and pushes Laine. So Laine falls. I'm not even asking for a penalty for interference because I think that would honestly be a kind of a weak call. What I was very frustrated with was that Roy decided to play Laine instead of the puck, and it was still called an icing.
Yeah, which it should not have been.
So I don't think it should have been an icing. The one thing that sucked was Washington changes. Ovi comes out. We've got Newhook, Demidov, and Laine on in the defensive zone. Those aren't guys that play defensive zone faceoffs. It led to a goal. Listen, I think it was a non-call. All I wanted was for the icing to be waved off. And the play that kept going. It doesn't mean we would have won the game. It doesn't mean any of that. I just felt like it was a little bit – I thought it was the wrong call, to be honest with you. And I thought that the play should have kept going and overtime should have kept going. So what I mean is that really could have went either way, right? Game two – we played pretty well. We got the first goal, but pretty much like every time we've had the lead in this series, minus like the end of the second period to the third in game three, we've had trouble holding on to the lead. They've been responding right away. They responded basically right away with 2 goals in a minute after we took the lead in game two. They held on. They played good D. We pushed fucking hard in that third period, though, and Logan Thompson was unbelievable. But game three, dude, I don't know what it was. I'm telling you, dude, I have never felt so confident and unanxious going into a game, especially being down 2-0. I was like, I don't know what it is today. I feel like we're going to come out fucking flying and we're winning this game. I don't know if it's being at home. I don't know if it was because the series has been so tight and I felt like we probably could have won one of those first 2 games, but we played awesome, dude. We played awesome last game.
I think a massive part of it is the fact that you have probably 75% of the guys on your team playing their first playoff hockey games in front of fans, right? Because like we did talk about in the playoff preview episode that like Caulfield and Suzuki, they were there for the playoff run, but it was the COVID year, right? Like they were playing in empty barns, man. Like I think it's probably about 75% of the guys on your team that was their first playoff game in front of the home, like their home team's fans, right? Like, you know what's gonna get those guys pumped up, and even you could see it with the way they were like playing, man. Like it was a gritty game. That bench brawl at the, I feel what.
Oh, dude, at the end of the second period, that was so funny, man.
You got Tom Wilson and Josh Anderson bear wrestling on the bench. Did you see Riley, or did you see Leonard and Hudson though, or no?
Yeah, they were holding hands. That was
holding hands, like having a little chat when every other player on the ice is like.
Bro, did you see Hudson's brother after the game?
No.
So Cole Hudson was at the game, and I think just because he's not signed with Washington, he's just cheering for Lane right now.
Yeah,
dude, he's wearing a Montreal Christmas sweater, like a Canadiens Christmas sweater, and he's just chatting up Carberry after the game, like in the tunnel. And I'm like, dude, this must be the funniest encounter ever. But yeah. No, I saw that, dude. That was pretty eventful. I honestly just thought it was like it escalated, but like when you look back at it, like the reason Anderson got on the bench was because the door was open, because everyone has to go across the ice if you're the away team to get off. Did you see Carberry's comments about it?
No.
Oh, dude, it was so funny. They asked him about it because did you see the clip where he was like about to get off and then he had to like get out of the way?
Yeah.
Did you see that? So they were like, what was going on? And he was like, man, I was just trying to walk across the ice and these two insanely large humans just like are wrestling and came at me and I had to get out of the way. So honestly, man, it was pretty fun. They both got fined, but they were talking the intermission, like, could we see a suspension? I was like, a suspension for what? Like, you know how that all started though?
I missed how it started. I kind of just looked up to the TV and saw there was a big brawl going on, and guys on the bench. I had no idea what happened.
I had no idea what happened. All I knew is Jack-Eye was kind of in it right away. So apparently Dobish was skating to the bench, and Trevor Van Riemsdyk was kind of in his path. So Dobish tried to just move out of the way, and when Dobish moved, Van Riemsdyk stopped and just blocked him from moving. And then Jack-Eye went up and like pushed Trevor Van Riemsdyk and was like, bro, like, get the fuck out of the way. And then it just started this whole melee, and it just escalated into this wrestling on the bench. So honestly, kind of funny. It kind of like brought back almost, it felt like the 80s lifestyle. A lot of people I see loved it. I just thought it was just like, it was a perfect time. Like, it was a tie game. The Habs score with under 10 seconds left in that period. It was like this momentum change. And then this happened. And I don't know if you saw too, everyone was off the ice. Jake Evans was the only one standing there. You could see Marty St. Louis looked at Jake Evans. He's like, what the fuck happened? Like, he didn't even know what the hell was going on. So that was super entertaining. Because also, if you were watching live, like, it was like the end of the period, and like the play-by-play guys were just talking. The camera's like panning almost, and they're like, "Holy shit, we got a brawl!" Like, so like it was cool, dude, to kind of experience that. But honestly, man, I don't know why Tom Wilson. I know I'm a Habs fan, but I don't know why he's doing like the baby and crying shit. I'm gonna be honest with you, he's been super effective in this series, but he's been flopping around like a bag of potatoes every time he gets fucking cross-checked. So I don't know, man. I think he should look at himself in the mirror a little bit.
Mark, I want to ask you one more thing here about this series before we kind of move on. So with these goaltending injuries on each side, how much do you think it kind of changes this series?
Yeah, man, I've been trying to kind of think about that too the past couple days. Like, I did not think at all that Logan Thompson would be like on the ice and potentially starting this game. It looked pretty bad. There was a couple things on that one play that I thought he could have injured. Like, he directly got hit in like the head neck area first. I was thinking concussion. If you look at actually when Strome like hit him and he laid on him, like he was in the butterfly position, and then when he got hit, his whole upper body went back, but his knees didn't really move from the ice, which is a cause for concern. You can kind of like tear something, like, you know what I mean, in your knee if your knees aren't moving with the rest of your body. So I was thinking, shit, maybe he like tore something in his leg. He obviously didn't put pressure on his leg when he was getting kind of taken off the ice there. I think it could have a pretty decent impact, dude. Like, the thing is, it's like Dobish. There's been stretches where he hasn't looked good this year. There's been stretches where he was really good, dude. So it's like, I don't think he doesn't have the capability to come in and potentially play really well. It's going to depend how pressured he looks. You know what I mean? He only faced, I think, 8 shots through half the game there. He let in 1 goal. It was the Ovi goal. Like, it wasn't even his fault. He made a couple of big saves. I'm going to say this, dude. Montembeault has been really good in this series, dude. Dude. Really fucking good. So I think it's going to be hard for Dobish to match that. But the thing is, it's like, I don't think that Dobish has to be as good as Montembeault if we come out like we did last game. Like, you know what I mean? Like, last game, our goalies weren't the reason we were in the game and won. We played really well. Like, dude, do you know we out-hit the Caps 45-26 last game?
Honestly, I'm not overly surprised, man. Like, he hasn't been really physical. And then when you have Xhaka in the lineup too,
right? Yeah. Like, we have to be, because they've been super physical. Like, Protas might be back today too. Like, that's another huge body out there. So I'm going to say this. I'm fairly decently optimistic about Dobish. Like, not like going through the entire series. Montembeault just seems day to day. I think, honestly, he's dealing with some cramp or something he may have pulled in his leg. I don't think it's that serious. Kind of crazy, too, that he's been on the team 3 years. This is the first time he's ever been injured. And it just is coming at the worst time. With Thompson, too, man, like, okay, last game, was it his best? No. It wasn't his fault either, though, I would say. And besides that, the other 2 games, he's been playing great. So it just depends. Like, is the injury going to affect him at all, or that we played well last game and got to him, or is he going to rebound and play like he was? So I think it is a bit of, I'm a little bit more optimistic about our chances, even with him in net, because I'm like, he might be a bit fragile. Like, he got hurt. He didn't play the best. I'm going to be honest with you, if it was Lindgren, I think Dobish could outbattle Lindgren.
Like, honestly, from what I'm seeing, I think Lindgren's playing today. I think he's starting game 4.
So Thompson was in the starter's crease, though, at morning skate. So I don't know how much that matters. I don't know if they're just trying to play mental games with them. You know what I mean? Like,
I think it's mental games, and I think it's to get Logan Thompson and see where he's at. But from what I'm seeing, he hasn't been cleared to play. So
really,
they're saying he didn't speak to media today, and the reason he didn't speak to media was because he hasn't been medically cleared. So,
oh shit,
I don't know. Like I don't know if how much of that's BS, mental games. Okay, we're maybe going to be playing against Lindgren, but I'm under the impression that I think Lindgren's playing game 4 today. I think Thompson.
I think Lindgren had a rough year, to be honest with you. I don't think he's really been that good down the stretch, and I would feel very more optimistic if the Habs were playing Lindgren. And I'd be more optimistic about Dobish potentially out-battling him.
Yeah, and this is a big game for you guys, man. Like, if you guys win this game, it's a 2-2 series. You guys are all back in it, right? Like, if you guys lose this, it's 3-1. Honestly, you guys are probably losing this series if you guys lose this game. But I think, like, overall, I think the injuries to the goalies, I honestly think it hurts Washington more. Because as you mentioned,
you just think Dobish has almost been like a better backup down the stretch.
Yeah, dude. I think in a playoff game he could outbattle Charlie Lindgren if he has to.
Yeah,
and
because I think people are going to start to see now. It sucks that he's hurt. That Montembeault is actually a lot more valuable than people think, despite like his stats. You know what I mean? So I think I agree, dude. I actually could be pretty optimistic about Dobish out battling him. He's also a big guy. I know we're moving on to a next series here, but just a couple updates about like what's going on right now. So Gabe Vilardi is taking warm up for the Winnipeg Jets right now. He is not in line rushes though. So I don't know if that means he's close to playing, not playing today. Dylan DeMello is playing. So is Hayden Fleury, and Colin Miller and Logan Stanley are out today. So
I'm not surprised by that.
So Vilardi pretty close, dude. It seems like if it's not today, he's probably going to be back for game 5.
Good to see. And yeah, this Winnipeg game is going to be starting any minute here as we're approaching 1 o'clock Eastern time. Let's move on to our late game though for tonight. It's the Oilers versus the Kings. Kings are leading that series 2-1 right now. Man, I this series is exactly what I thought it was, dude. Exactly what I thought it was going to be. Oilers don't have any defense that they can trust. Their goaltending you can't trust at all. You called it. You called it, dude. What did you say in their playoff
starting game 3, didn't I?
I like.
I said 3 or 4. I'm pretty sure I said.
Like you called it, man. But then on the other hand, McDavid and Draisaitl pop off and they get to win the one game, right? So it's exactly what we talked about going into the series. Is that you can't trust Edmonton to keep the puck out of their net, but on the other side you got McDavid and Draisaitl and they can put up 8 goals in a game. So you know what I mean? I still have no idea what to think of this series, to be honest, because tonight, if McDavid and Draisaitl come out and they have a big game, like, it's a 2-2 series, right? And it's a tough one when I look at it, to be honest. Mark, what do you kind of think though with it?
So do you think it's kind of a tough one just because they haven't been playing good, but at the same time, it's like they have McDavid and Draisaitl and have like came back twice, even though they didn't win one of them? Like, is that why you kind of feel like that?
Yeah, for me, it's just like I think the Oilers can outscore their problems, but on the other side, it's like it's a lot of scoring, and it's just I'm at such a mix because you have these 2 generational players, right, who can outscore problems, but then it's like the scoring problem's pretty big, man. Like so far in this series, the Kings have put up 6 goals in game 1, 6 goals in game 2, and then 4 goals in game 3, right? So like even game 3 where Edmonton did win, it's like that's still a winnable game for LA if they can keep the puck out of their net.
Oh, dude, they were winning in the third period.
Yeah.
You want to know what I honestly think just seeing 3 games of this series? I think it's going to be hard for Edmonton to win. I don't think there's been any life with them showing that they could even get average goaltending. I think that it's possible they could do it again where they're down, they can come back and win or force OT or whatever. I just don't really see it happening 3 more times in this series, and LA only has to win 2 more. I just see a game where LA potentially could maybe shut the Oilers' offense down a little bit or at least minimize it while they're scoring a lot. I don't know, man. It's just like you might get one game here where Skinner or Pickard fucking lets in 2 or 3 goals and they can win, but I don't really see that happening a couple more times. Like I'm honestly, I'm going to be honest with you, I am pretty confident in my pick in LA in 6. I'll say. I see the Oilers winning again, but I honestly think LA's winning today or tomorrow, whenever the fuck they're playing, and then I see LA winning, then Edmonton winning, and then LA winning. That's how I see it going.
See, I can honestly see that, man.
Their power play's been unbelievable. The Kings.
Yeah, dude, Kempe is he's leading the league right now in playoff
9 points.
He's on 9
dude,
points.
I said at the trade deadline.
Series.
I said at the trade deadline, what the fuck are the LA Kings doing? They're literally asking themselves to get out in the first round again because they went and got Andrei Kuzmenko. Well, yeah. Dude, you got Andrei Kuzmenko for the right stretch because he is the most fucking inconsistent. Oh, you know what Andrei Kuzmenko is, dude? He's like fucking Patrick Laine. That's exactly what he is. He's a different player, but it's like he's unbelievable or he's non-existent.
Yeah.
And right now, he's unbelievable. You got him for the right stretch for a 2027 third. The hell of a fucking pickup at the deadline. Honestly, I'd be pretty weary to re-sign him, though, considering how inconsistent he is. But you know what? A good rental. You know what I mean? So They've looked good. Honestly, man, as much as Kemper's stats don't look good, a lot of this hasn't really been on him, the goals. He's looked completely like he's way out-dueling the other goalies.
Oh, yeah. And you're playing the best 2 offensive players in the world right now, right? Like,
I'm just very not optimistic about the Oilers. I'm going to be honest with you. I see them scoring. They could win a game or 2 here. I don't see them winning 3 of the next 4. I don't see it.
See, honestly, I'm totally with you on that, man. But then I always just think at the last second in the back of my head, but there's there's McDavid and Draisaitl, and with them, anything's possible. Like, even look at the Stanley Cup Finals last year, right? Like, everybody's writing Edmonton off, man, and then
See, but
McDavid and Draisaitl.
I think that would make a better difference for me if like
Their
they
goaltending was at
had
least
like
somewhat
not even
reliable.
solid goaltending or a solid goalie, but like even average. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, say they didn't really have much scoring depth, but like their defense and goaltending was like average to pretty good. Like, I could see them like winning a couple games like 4-2 or you know what I mean? But like it just seems like dude, even like did you see that Trevor Moore goal that Calvin Pickard let in? Or no?
No,
Were you
I
watching that
missed that
last
one.
game?
For me,
So
the bad one was the
basically
Bouchard one.
LA went in, or LA scored, Edmonton tied the game, and 8 seconds later, Trevor Moore got like a half breakaway. And dude, the whole breakaway, he didn't have two hands on his stick because the defenseman was trying to like get him, and he was like fighting him off with his shoulder. Trevor Moore legit poked the puck, and it went this much in the air. And Calvin Pickard's 5-hole was this fucking wide, and it went through his legs. And I'm like, and they panned to the bench at McDavid, and he just didn't react. And I'm like, man, I feel so bad for this fucking guy. Like, he can't even get competent fucking goaltending. And it's like, they're going to go back to Pickard because he won, but dude, I am no more confident in him right now than Skinner.
No, it's a fucking toss-up, dude. I'd do any, meeny, miny, mo on who's starting and let them fucking figure it out at this point. Like, I'm kind of with you, to be honest. The more you were talking there, I do think, like, I do think the Kings are winning this series, but I'm not saying that the Oilers are completely written off, because with them, they're never written off.
And I do get what you're saying about the last year part, but I also think the last year part was like, dude, like Hyman was going, like they had Ekholm,
Yeah,
like
they were getting
was
decent
Skinner
goaltending.
great? No, yeah, Skinner didn't have a good stretch there, and then Pickard came in, and to be honest, Pickard played pretty good when he came in for him. So it was like, like they had their goaltending was at least average. You know what I mean? To above average, I would say, for a decent part of that run. And it's like, they're not getting that now, and good defense. So it's like, I just think it's hard to win when that's not happening. Like, I get they went to the finals and whatever, but to be honest, dude, every other year that they've been in, they haven't gone to the finals. Like, so it's just like, I kind of don't feel the same about this team, to be honest, because they were also playing well down the stretch after a bad start. They were one of the best teams in the league the last like 65 games of the season. Like, I can't say the same about this year. And there's so many guys that have been injured and like not looking 100%. As good as, honestly, I think Evander Kane's actually looked pretty good for being off for a whole year. But like, dude, I can't lie. Like Frederick, like that was not a good pickup. Like he's fucking injured. It's the right style of player, but like what you gave up for him, considering how much he's actually played, like, buddy, you could have went and got a goalie or like another defenseman with that second round pick. Like, oh, dude, I don't know.
Yeah, Mark, I completely agree with you on that, man. I think the Kings are winning this series. Let's move on and talk about the Panthers and the Lightning. This series, it's been exactly what we thought it was going to be. You see, it's just pure hatred. You got Hagel taking out the captain for Florida in Barkov. Last night you had Kachuk pretty much killing Jake Getzel. I'm surprised Getzel honestly got up after that hit. Like it was pretty ugly. Mark, I want to start off by asking you this though: does Matthew Kachuk get suspended?
So I don't know if you saw there, he's not getting suspended.
I think that's very questionable, to be honest.
I'm going to be honest, I do too. Okay. What Hagel did was gutless, I thought. Like, I thought it was pretty gutty considering, like, he didn't have the puck. The thing is I don't know if he thought the puck was going to go in that area, and that's why he was kind of almost lining up for a hit. I'm going to be honest with you, dude. I was fucking shocked when I saw he got suspended. I didn't really think it was suspension worthy. I think that if you want to give him a 5 and get him out of the game, yeah. I have no problem with that because I think it's a potential vicious hit. And you know what I mean? Like he wasn't playing the play, but it's like at the end of the day, Barkov leaves the game. He's not injured. It's like, I don't get why Hagel is out. And the one thing I was wondering was like, is he suspended because Barkov left and didn't come back? I don't know if you listened to Chicklets this week with Chris Pronger. And he said that because he used to work for that department, right?
Yeah.
So he says that has no bearing on the suspension. So he says the only thing that matters with an injury is if they are saying, yes, we are suspending this guy, then the injury comes into effect with how many games they're deciding.
Okay.
So so Barkov leaving the game had no bearing on them being like, we're suspending him.
Look, I'll be honest, man. It was a bad hit. I'm kind of either way on it. Like, if you're not suspending him, I'm fine with that. If you're giving him one game, I'm fine with that because it was a bad hit. It was kind of gutless.
Then I'm sorry, Tkachuk should be suspended.
I agree with you. That's where my whole thing is. Like, if Hagel doesn't get suspended, okay, you don't suspend Tkachuk. If Hagel's getting one game, you give Tkachuk the same. I think both those hits are pretty similar. Like, guys without the puck that you're lining up. And to be honest, I think the Tkachuk one may even be a touch worse because that was clearly a retaliation for the Hagel hit, right? It's like you're down big at that point in the game. Like, he knows what he's doing there. That's clearly like, I'm going to go at a star player because they went at our star player. I think Tkachuk should have gotten a game without a doubt. Like, if Hagel's getting a game, you give Tkachuk a game.
If I had the choice, I'd probably give none of them a game. But I mean, I think since you gave one of them, you should be given the other. It's very similar. Just because it might not be as bad as what Hagel did doesn't mean it shouldn't be a suspension. Like, it was very similar. So according to Elliot Friedman, there will be no hearing supplemental discipline for Matthew Tkachuk. Reasoning, as I understand, force of hit is not considered at the level of the Hagel-Barkov. No head contact, and Gensel had touched the puck. I think that's irrelevant, though. The argument of Barkov didn't touch the puck, but Gensel did. Dude, it's fucking interference. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
If he touched the puck fucking 45 seconds ago, it's like, are you like... Yeah, he touched the puck, but it's a solid 3 to 4 seconds after he touches the puck. Where Tkachuk
I know. It was really late.
Yeah. Like,
dude, okay, I just have a hard time suspending a guy for that when Brendan Gallagher's standing in front of the net and gets cross-checked in the teeth and he can't even get a power play. And he spent 6 hours getting his teeth fucking fixed between game 2 and 3. Like, I don't know, man. It's just to the point where, okay, whatever, you're not going to call that on him, but like, we're getting to the point where we're suspending a guy for interference. I'm not saying it wasn't a bad hit. It was, I looked at it and I was like, holy shit, what the hell is he thinking? Why would he do that? Like, I have no problem giving the guy a fucking 5, dude. I just think a suspension is kind of like, even fine him, dude. Just fucking fine him. But like, the suspension part to me is like, what? Like, I don't get it. Like, that's the line we're drawing. Really. Out of everything that happens in the playoffs, really. Like, I don't know. Like, but the rest of the series, dude. Like I'm going to be honest with you. I hadn't had a chance to watch live a lot of this series. It's been on at times I couldn't really watch. I did watch yesterday's game quite a bit, though. But Florida seemed to be taking it to Tampa for the most part, game 1 and 2. No? Did you get a chance to watch it?
I've watched a bit live. It's mostly been highlights, but Florida has been kind of taking it to Tampa. Game 2, Bob played really well.
Stole the show,
right?
yeah.
Stole the show. Like, that's a game where you can kind of, if you're Tampa, you can kind of say, like, we got fucking goalied here. Because it's a 2-0 game. Like, that's a game that Tampa could win, but Bob just played amazing in that, right? I think when you look at it, game 2, kind of a, like, if you're looking at it from Tampa's perspective, it's like, okay, game 1, we got, like, game 1, Florida got to us. It was all them.
They did. They didn't really shoot a lot, though, dude. Like Vassal, like, the shots were 22 to 17.
Yeah.
But like, I get what you mean, but it's like they didn't like dominate them. I felt like.
I wouldn't say dominated, but I'd definitely say they were the better team in that.
Yeah.
And then game 2, it's like, okay, like, we kind of got goalied here. And then game 3, it's like, okay, now we kind of put that beating on to Florida as they kind of did to us in game 1, right? I think game 4 is like, this is the biggest game in this series. Again, like, you guys are probably fucking tired of me saying this because I've said this every series pretty much here, but like game 4, I think game 4, like this is the deciding game in this series, right? If Florida wins, I think they win the series. If Tampa wins, I think they're winning this series, based off how things are going.
Could you not argue that a game 4 is basically the most important part in every series? Just be like I know it becomes different when it's a game 7, it's 3-3, but with a game 4, it's like you're guaranteed to have a game 4 in every series. It's like even if it's a 3-0 series, it's going to be the deciding game, whether you're going home.
I'd say 60% of the time.
Yeah,
I'd say because it's like you look at some other series, like we haven't talked about the Leafs Ottawa one yet, so I don't want to get into it too much. But when you look at that series, I wouldn't say that in that series game 4 is the most important game there, right? Like I think
it's
game
probably
5,
game 3. Well, it probably was game 3 to start. Yeah,
it probably was game 3, but I think even maybe game 5 might be for that series. But no matter what, I don't think for that series game 4 has been the most important game. I think though, yeah, 60% of the time game 4 probably is the most important game.
it is until it's the next game, and then that becomes the most important, and then the next one after that. It's just the way it goes, right?
That's completely true.
Because I would say with Montreal too, it's like, dude, game 3 was so important, but now it's like game 4 feels even more important, and every game now is just going to become just as important, kind of thing.
There's such a big difference between going down 3-1 and like going into game 5 down 3-1 is so different than going into game 5 series tied 2-2, right? Because one is like you're going in the mentality we got to stay alive, and the other you're going into the mentality let's put the chokehold on the other team, right? Mark, who do you have coming out of this series though?
Dude, it's tough. The way I'm kind of looking at it is like I don't know if, like, obviously they've won game 3, but like overall it's just like, can Tampa beat them 4-5?
Yeah.
Like that's just kind of the way I'm looking at it. Like I do hope this goes deep. I hope that we get as good of an entertaining of a series as we've had, and this could potentially be with a deep series, but I don't know, man. It's crazy because these teams played each other a decent amount the last couple of years. And have we seen one long series? A couple of years ago, Tampa swept Florida in the second round. Last year, Florida beat Tampa in 5.
Yeah.
Like, as good as and much as we hype these series off, we haven't really seen a deep one yet between these two.
And I feel like for those previous seasons, like the first one, Florida wasn't really where, like, they weren't where they're at now.
Well, the thing is, they were. That was the year they were really good.
I guess they were.
But they just didn't have the playoff experience, I think. And Tampa's coming off of winning a Stanley Cup, right?
And then last year for Tampa, right? Like Tampa, they kind of had a down year last year, and now they're back where they were at when they were going on those cups.
They were a wild card team last year, right? And Florida was winning the division. So I don't know, man. I feel like I actually kind of see Tampa like evening up the series, but I just still don't know if that means they're going to win.
Yeah.
Because I think Florida can respond pretty well, and I think that like they just like even if Tampa ties the series, it's going to be like, oh, okay, we got to win 2 or 3. Like, you know what I mean? And I think it's doable, right? So I don't know. I'm kind of thinking now. I obviously picked Tampa to win the series, but obviously the way it started has made me change my mind a bit. But
yeah, I
kind of see Florida and Tampa 6 or 7. Sorry, Florida in 6 or 7 over Tampa.
I'm kind of with you there, dude. I think Florida's gonna probably take it in 6 or 7. Honestly, I'm hoping it goes to game 7, man. Because Florida Tampa game 7, man. That would be.
I just hope the Leafs series doesn't end fast, though, because then they'll have so much rest.
See, but to that point, they will have rest. But if it ends soon and then Florida Tampa goes to game 7, does it get to the point where it's like they almost had too much time off, where you're not playing games, you're not, you know what I mean? Like, because there is that side of it as well. Like, I feel like the perfect amount of rest between playoff series is 2 to 3 days, right? Like more than your opponent, 2 to 3 days more than your opponent. When you have like three,
So
four,
maybe about
five,
4 to 5 days off. Yeah.
yeah, like if the Leafs have 4 to 5 days off, it's like, man, that's like almost a whole week, dude. Like,
Yeah, I get what you're saying because I don't know why I always think back to this when when we had the COVID shortened year and we had the North Division and Habs played the Leafs. Habs win in 7. Jets swept Edmonton, so
yeah,
they were kind of sitting there waiting. And I don't know how much that played into a factor. And then Montreal went out and swept Winnipeg, right?
yeah.
So I get what you're saying, kind of like I don't know if the rest always is a good thing.
It's like you get out of your routine, man. Like if you're a player, dude, in the Stanley Cup Finals where you're playing every 2 day, like every other day, pretty much, or you're playing like the odd time you'll have the 2 days in between games, right? It's like, man, you get into a routine, right? Like you're fully in your routine, and then when you have a week off like that, and your routine breaks, and then you got to go and get in that next routine for the next series, like I do think it kind of does mess with you mentally. Like I wouldn't be surprised if game 1 and 2 you're a bit slower. You're having a bit of a harder time getting back into that
Yeah, I
getting
could
back
see
into
that.
that sort of routine.
I will say if you did have to choose when you would have a break if you wanted to, I would say between the conference and Stanley Cup finals would be
Yeah,
ideal because you're probably the most banged up and some of your guys might need those couple extra days. I don't really know how positive it is after round 1. I guess it really
yeah,
depends on your team's health, but I'd say for the most part you'd prefer it to kind of happen on a long run before going to the cup finals.
yeah. For sure, I agree with you there. Let's move on and talk about the Avs and the Stars. This playoff series again.
Dude.
It's been exactly what we all wanted, exactly what we all thought. It's been a two heavyweights going at it. One team throws a big punch, the other team's throwing another punch back and responding. Mark, what are your thoughts on this series so far?
Man, I'm so happy that Colorado got the win yesterday.
Yeah,
But, dude, honestly, it has been back and forth. The funniest part is, I don't know what the actual time is, but I'm pretty sure through 4 games, Dallas has led this series for 52 seconds.
yeah,
Both of their wins came in overtime. Um, to be honest, they lost game 1 5-1. There was an empty netter in there. There was a goal after the empty netter in there as well. It was a lot tighter of a game. Dallas played pretty well for the most part. I think this series has got a bit of everything right now, dude. We've got injuries. We've got, honestly, I'd say really good goaltending on both sides. We've got the superstars playing. We've kind of got the unsung heroes. So you look at Colin Blackwell. Fuck, dude. Evgeny Dodonov's been playing pretty well as well. Absolute criminal that this is a first-round matchup, in my opinion.
yeah.
But I think this has got the markings on it to go 7. I can't wait for the rest of this series. I don't know. Do you got anything to kind of add on that? I think that minus me watching the Habs play, this is my favorite series right now.
Yeah.
Because I just think it's got a little bit of everything, dude. You got the superstars, you got guys who aren't superstars, you've got Lehkonen scoring bicycle kicks, you've got kind of everything here. So I think it's shaping up to be a really good next 3 potential games, 2 to 3 games here.
I think, yeah, I agree with
I
you
don't
on
think
that, dude.
Dallas is winning though.
I think Colorado's winning now, man. I think Dallas is honestly kind of lucky this is a 2-2 series.
Oh, I do too.
This series,
They haven't
this
played
could have
with the
been
lead at all.
no, this could have been like Colorado could have swept them, dude. Game 1, Colorado dominated them. Last night they got dominated by Colorado again, right? Also, shout out to Gabe Landeskog, first NHL goal since he returned last night. So I just want to put that out there. But yeah, like game 2 and 3, two overtime games, right? Like Colorado could have gotten away with a sweep here, depending on how things went there with the overtime games, right? But I think if I'm Dallas, I'd be a little worried, to be honest. I'd be a little worried here going into these final 3 games, knowing the fact that like they like Yeah, it is a 2-2 series, but there hasn't been one game where I'd say Dallas has kind of dominated Colorado to the points that Colorado has in game 1 and 4. Like,
Oh, 100%, dude.
you even look at last night. Like last night, Onger gets yanked, and we're kind of on the broadcast. Nobody really knew why is Onger getting yanked. Is
So
he injured? Is there something
it was
going
to
on?
rest him for Monday. It was to rest him.
Which part of that, but also I think it was partially DeBoer and his coaching staff being like, why are we playing this guy when the team in front of him is not supporting him at all? Like, let's.
So
get
a lot of
something
people
fucking
were
going here,
very like a lot of people online were very like, I don't understand this. They still could have came back, and I'm like, dude, you guys were getting absolutely worked. Like,
yeah.
Ottinger was playing, dude. He had like 34 shots in 2 periods, dude. Like he had like a full game's workload in 2 periods. Like looking at this, I understand why he took him out. I totally get it.
He had 34 shots and he still had 9-12 last night. It's like, give the guy some rest.
You don't see that happen much, but I understand with he's like, hey, this guy's playing every second night. We're playing like absolute shit right now. Like, what if they just kept playing like shit and he let in 3 or 4 more in the third? And then his confidence is down the drain. At least take him out when you talk to him. Say, hey, dude, you're playing fucking well. I'm taking you out because we're playing like shit and you don't deserve to be in net right now. And take all this. Rest up. We'll get him back in game 5. I guarantee that's exactly what he said to him.
Yeah, and I completely agree with what they did there. There's no point in burning out your goalie when the series is going to be 2-2.
It doesn't matter if he's a starting goalie and he's used to playing 60 games. Well, you should get him his rest when he can. I did not think that they were coming back one bit, and I understood what they were doing. Yeah. And also the other thing you can argue is sometimes you put a backup goalie in and it sparks your team. So
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it has nothing to do with maybe like imagine even DeSmith went in, they fucking tie the game and win. Like it's not like you've seen situations like that happen all the time. So I understand Pete DeBoer's mentality. I just thought they're not fucking coming back the way he's playing right now. So the way they're playing right now. So you should rest him when you can. So the thing is, he hasn't been a problem at all. He's been playing good, dude. Like I'd argue he's the reason they've won 2 games.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I think the issue for Dallas right now is they're missing Heiskanen, and you're seeing it. Like they're missing him, dude. They're not getting those clean breakouts. Like last night in the third period, how many fucking times, dude, could they just not get the puck past the red line? Yeah. I think it was a solid 5 minutes at one point where they could not get the puck past the red line. It was they'd break it out, Colorado would regroup in their end or like just inside the blue line, and then it's back into Dallas's zone, right? Like I think you're seeing it there. They're missing Heiskanen on the back end. You're not getting clean breakouts, and also I don't think they've been scoring and getting to Blackwood that well. I think they need to be a bit better here in these final 3 games of the series if they want to win it. Like I think they really need to...
I agree, but I think you got to give him his kudos though, dude. Like this is the first time he's been in the playoffs, Blackwood, and I think that game 1, honestly, dude, as much as you say it could have been a sweep, and I agree, like there was times in game 1 where Dallas could have easily tied the game, and he was there strong. So I think you got to give the kudos to Blackwood being this his first playoffs. Like, dude, to put in perspective how good goaltending's been in this series, like, dude, Ottinger 911, Blackwood's got a 939 right now.
Yeah, it's definitely impressive.
Really good goaltending.
I do think Blackwood has stood on his head at points, but I also think if you're Dallas, when you have that many superstars, like at some point, one of those guys has to come out on top and pulling past them, right? And they just haven't gotten that. They just haven't gotten that so far in this series. Let's talk about the Battle of Ontario, Sens versus Leafs. Leafs lead the series 3-1 last night. OT loss, or 3-1 right now. OT loss last night for the Leafs. This has been a closer series than on paper, really. Like game 1, Leafs ran away with it. Spent pretty much the entire game on the power play, though. Then game 2, 3, and 4 have all gone to overtime. So those have all been really close games. Mark, what have you sort of seen with this series, though?
Yeah, I mean, I do agree with you. I think it definitely has been a lot closer than we, or than the stats show. I can't lie though. Like I've been as much as you say that, I've been pretty impressed with the Leafs. I think they've been showing in this series that they are the more experienced team. I would say against a team that hasn't played in the playoffs. One thing, they're getting really good goaltending from Stolarz. He's been pretty good throughout the entire series. He didn't face a lot of rubber yesterday, but I would also argue some of those goals weren't really on him yesterday. I just think that the Leafs do look a lot more experienced. The thing is, they're playing some pretty good defense, dude. As much as you say, Ottawa could have won the other games. Like, dude, the Leafs could have easily won yesterday and swept. Like,
true.
Ottawa didn't have many shots the last second half of the game. Like, right? I think they only finished with 20 or something like that, 21 throughout the entire game.
Yeah.
And the Leafs had a couple chances in overtime. I don't know, man. I think that the Leafs are just showing they're the more experienced team. We're actually seeing this team commit to defense, play good defense right now. I see them getting by Ottawa, no issues, to be honest, especially being up 3-1. Ottawa might take another game, but I don't see. You might think I'm a bit crazy saying this, but if I could see Ottawa winning the next game, and I wouldn't be as worried about the Leafs blowing it, just because I think that throughout this series we've seen a lot of them be calm and composed and in control. Yep. That I think that if they lost 2 in a row, they could get another one. Hey, if they force a 7 though, that might be a different story. But I can't say I'd be sitting here if Ottawa won on Tuesday and be like, oh my God, the Leafs are going to blow this again. I don't know if I'd be saying that. To be honest, I think that they could rebound. I think they could rebound after a shit game. And they didn't play shit last game, but say they came out and shit the bed next game. I think that they could rebound from that.
I agree with you there, man. To be honest, I think this series is over in 5 or 6. I don't think it's getting to Game 7 at all. I wouldn't. My gut leans toward the Leafs winning on Tuesday in Game 5. I think most likely they win there. Look, a gentleman sweep. Ottawa, they got the playoff experience, but as you said, dude, the Maple Leafs have just shown they're the more experienced team. They got the better overall team, man. They got the better back end. I think Stolarz has outdueled Allmark in this series. I don't think Allmark's played.
Allmark hasn't been great.
I don't think he's been bad, but he hasn't given Ottawa a big save when they need it, right?
For sure.
Yeah, but the Leafs, they got the better roster. They got the better decor. They got the better forwards. Overall, they're a better team. They're more experienced, and they've shown that throughout this series. And I do think Game 5 they will kind of have a bounce back game after that overtime loss. So in Game 4, Mark, I do want to ask you one thing though before moving on from this playoff series. If you're the Leafs, do you start Woll in Game 5? Or do you start Stolarz?
I start Woll.
Yeah.
Because I think it's the same thing with the Freddie situation. It's a bit different. Obviously, Stolarz hasn't been hurt as much. But Stolarz has never played all these games in a row, dude.
Yep.
I don't think that... I think people are going to say, oh, get the series over with. I'm just I don't know. I'm thinking longevity. But I think someone could also counter me and say, well, what if they win, the series is over? He might get a lot of rest before Tampa, Florida starts, right? So I will kind of understand more if they went with him again, but I would go with Woll personally.
Yeah.
I don't know if Stolarz, he didn't look as good last game. It wasn't his fault by any means, but I don't know if it's fatigue. I don't you know what I mean? So I'd be more comfortable going with Woll next game, but I would understand more if they went with Stolarz than if Carolina didn't go with Kochetkov. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm with you on that, dude. I think you should start Woll because, yeah,
I don't think they're going to at all, though. I think that he wants one guy, Berube. I don't think there's a chance that Woll's starting.
Which I don't think the Leafs can do, man. To be honest,
it might hurt them in the long run on this run.
That's the thing. It's that maybe through a series you can get away with doing that, but when you look at the overall picture, what's the end goal here for the Leafs? To win round one, or win a Stanley Cup? It's to win a Stanley Cup, man. Like, I think if your goal is to win just round one in the least amount of games, then yeah, Stolarz is your guy for the whole series. But their goal is to win a Stanley Cup, and to win a Stanley Cup, I think they're going to need to be able to sort of go to two goalies at points and give one guy the rest, because neither guy's have proven 1A like the Hellebucks or the Vasilevskis, where you can ride those guys in a playoff series in the playoffs throughout multiple series, right?
Man, I'm not even convinced if he's healthy, if Logan Thompson could play the entire series against the Habs either. Like, they haven't really proved they could do this, like, longevity, you know what I mean, of consistent games in a row. So, I don't know. I'd be more comfortable going with Wall next game.
I'd say there's 3 or 4 goalies in the playoffs that can do that. Vasilevsky, Bob's probably one. Even Bob, you might not need to give him a bit of rest here at some point. I think Onger's that guy. Hellebuck can do it. Outside of that, man, I don't know if there's any other guys.
There's goalies outside the playoffs that could do it, like Shesterkin and Sorokin, and honestly, Saros could probably do it if he was asked to do it. Maybe even like a Swayman, right? But like, there's not that many in the playoffs right now either that I think could probably do it. I think a lot of teams might have to result in giving their other goalie a start or like an appearance at some point, right? So I said that going to the playoffs, dude. I think if the Leafs are going on a long run, they're going to have to utilize both goalies. I don't think one goalie is going to work.
Yep, I'm all with you on that. Let's move on and talk about the last playoff series we have here. It's the Wild versus the Golden Knights. This series 2-2, maybe the most surprising series, to be honest, so far. I think a lot of people had Vegas either sweeping, winning in 5 or 6 games, maybe. Winnipeg had the Wild, they even had the opportunity to go up 3-1, right? Like, definitely surprising series so far. Mark, what do you think though about it?
I think Minnesota's looking a hell of a lot better than a lot of us thought, man.
Yeah.
I think we probably didn't factor in enough that this team was so hurt, and they hadn't really had a fully healthy lineup for like literally 70% of the season. And that earlier in the year when they were healthy, they were actually really good to start the season. I think this series just came down to Vegas's top guys have not been producing. Minnesota's top guys have been producing and been the best players in this series. And I think that one goalie's been playing really good and one of them has been terrible.
Yeah.
And I just don't think – is it crazy to say that I actually think that Vegas just believed that they were going to win this series? Like, it seems like the way they're playing that they almost thought, like, yeah, we're going to either sweep these guys or we'll beat them in 5.
No, I don't think it's that crazy, man. Like, when you look at Vegas, they've been a good team all year long. Winnipeg, second half of the year, they were kind of up and down, kind of sort of floating around the 500 mark-ish, right? But here's the thing, though, dude. It's what you said. Look at Minnesota. Look at Minnesota the first 2 months of the season. They were a top 2 or 3 team in the NHL. Like, points-wise, they were top 2 or 3 team in the NHL. What's the difference between that team and the second half team? It's the fact that they were dealing with injuries constantly the second half of the season. And now you're in the playoffs here. They have the roster that they had at the start of the season when they were top 2 or 3 team in the NHL. Plus, they have the guys that they got at the trade deadline and Zeev Buium, like a couple of those guys who they signed as well, right? Like, I think Vegas definitely is underestimating their opponents here.
Which I'm surprised about, to be honest with you. They just don't seem like the team that would do that. Especially losing in the first round last year, dude. Like, aren't you kind of surprised? Like, I'd say I'm most shocked about this series than any other series.
Oh, I agree. I'm definitely the most shocked by this one. Like, I'll be honest. Even I thought the Wild were gonna lose in 5-6 games, right? Like, yeah, they have their roster back to what it kind of was when they're fully healthy, but it's like, did I think like Kaprizov, right? Like he hasn't played in how many months going into the playoffs? Did I think he was going to be back where he's
did
at?
Did he play the end of the season there a little bit? But I mean, he didn't really get a great stretch of games.
You know what I mean? Like he hadn't played though in 2-3 months, and then he's kind of going back like towards the end of the season in the playoffs. Like I didn't think he'd step right back in and be the best player in this series right away. When to be honest, he kind of has looked like the best player in this series.
Oh, dude, him and Boldy have been electric.
And that's what it was for the first 2 months of the season when we were talking about Kaprizov for the Hart, right? Like it was like him and Boldy have looked fucking amazing, and we're kind of back at that. And I think Vegas wasn't expecting this, and it's happening now. And they're like, "Holy fuck!" The other thing too is I do want to. Gustafson's looked good in this series, man.
Very good.
Like, I think he might be one of the most underrated goalies right now, to be honest. Like, would you agree with that or no?
Yeah, I think he's kind of. I was kind of thinking about this whenever I do like a top 10 ranking. I think he's kind of sniffing that now.
Yeah, he's
getting to that point where it's like two of his 3 last seasons have been elite. One of them was kind of an average to below average, but it seems like that's almost every goalie now, dude. Like I'd probably argue there's like every goalie in the top 10 has had besides Connor Hellebuyck, you're probably looking at 2 elite seasons and 1 average season for a lot of these guys now. It's like a lot of them can't do it consistently every single year. Like, I don't know. I like Gustafsson a lot. I've been watching him. He looks really calm and composed. The one thing with him too, I think it was game 2. I may have been 2 or 3. They were up 2-0. He let in a fucking squeaker to make it 2-1. And look, he could have crumbled. A lot of goalies do. They let in a squeaker. They don't respond well. You could tie the game. Almost the goalie's fault they lost. He stayed in there. He stayed solid. I think he made 30 saves, 2 goals against. He's been really solid. On the other hand, dude, Adin Hill does not look good at all.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with him. I don't know if... See, I'm going to be honest with you. As a goalie, I look at Adin Hill, and he is one of the most confusing goalies for me to evaluate because he's pretty good at stopping the puck, but he honestly, when he's in net, and I don't know if you kind of understand what I'm saying when I say this, he almost looks like a roller hockey goalie. I don't know if you've watched roller hockey enough to kind of understand what I'm saying, but it's almost like he doesn't really have very like fluid and calm movement, but like he's able to make saves and he's big, but like it's kind of like he's a little bit like unorthodox in the net. Like he just doesn't look calm and composed. Meanwhile, I'd argue if you watch Gustafsson, you see a lot of like calm, composed, his movements very fluid. Like he's always square and centered for shots. It doesn't really look like he's ever in a panic. But like with Adin Hill, it's like, I feel like he's always the best term I can say is it looks like he's swimming in his crease. Yeah. Where he's always everywhere. He's diving around, trying to make this save. And it's like, if you look at someone like a Carey Price, it's like he'd only be diving around if it's kind of his last case scenario, right? He's more, he trusts his skating and his movements in his crease a lot more. I don't know if you kind of get what I'm saying. You might see this and watch goalies now and kind of maybe you might start to understand what I'm saying coming from a goalie. But like that's the best way I can like analyze it. That's why when I say like I would argue Gustafsson and Hill overall the past couple of years, it's like minus the cup, it's like they're kind of similar statistics, but it's like if I'm telling you right now, if I'm picking one goalie, I have a hell of a lot more trust in Gustafsson. Just because of the way he is in his crease and his movements, he would give me way less anxiety to watch.
The other thing too is I wonder how much of this is fatigue for him. Like looking at his career, he played 27 games in 22-23. Last season, he played 35 games in the regular season. And then this year, he played 50 games. He went from playing 35 games as his highest to playing 50 games. this season. That's a 15 game difference in the regular season between one year and his next. And like I wonder if it's like he's always been in a tandem, right? When he's been so good. He's had Logan Thompson there. And then this year with Samsonov, he's really had to take the load as being the full 1A, the full starter. And I wonder if now we're getting here to the first round of the playoffs and he's starting to feel some of that fatigue, starting to feel that he's not rested, where last year and the last couple of years he's had less of a workload and he's been rested going to the playoffs, right? I wonder how much that kind of plays into account here. Mark, I want to ask you, has your opinion changed on this series, or do you still Vegas is coming out with the win?
I think the way it's been going, I could see Minnesota winning this series for sure.
Yeah,
because it's not just like I don't even think. Okay, last game they won an OT, could have went either way. Vegas. I'm not even convinced they were like the better team in game one. Like, I just think that it's not like it's been 1 to 2 games of Vegas being not great. I think it's been a consistent. It's been most of the series.
Yeah.
And the thing is, too, it's like, dude, I'm looking at the way this is going with scoring. It's just like, look, if Vegas won, I picked them to win. I have them going all the way to the cup. They could turn it around. It's a tied series. You kind of just look at it as like nothing in the past really matters that much. It's whoever wins 2 or 3 now. They have the team to turn it around. It's just like, dude, I'm looking at these teams, okay? Kaprizov, 8 points. Boldy, 6 points. Hartman, 4. Foligno's got 3 goals in 4 games. Marco Rossi, who apparently doesn't fucking play very much, 10.53 average on ice this series, 3 points in 4 games. You look at Vegas. Hurdle, he's been the best player for them in this series. He's got 3 goals and 5 points. Riley Smith's got 2 points. Dorofeyev's got 2. Eichel's got 1 assist. Stone's got 1 assist. William Karlsson's got 1 assist. Olofsson doesn't have a point. I don't know. I'm more optimistic the way Minnesota's been playing. I think that they've got a lot of momentum right now. I think the other thing is like they won in Vegas one of the 2 games. They don't have the home ice anymore. I don't know. I'm just telling you, I wouldn't be shocked if Minnesota ended up winning the series.
Yeah, I think Minnesota has honestly a very good chance of winning this series. When you look at it right now, they got the better goaltender and they got the better team playing out there on the ice. When you like,
okay, I'd put it this way: I'd say going into this series, I probably would have given Minnesota a 25% chance of winning this series. I'd say right now, they probably got about a 55 to 60% chance.
Yeah, I was thinking 60-40. I will say, though, I do think, like, if Minnesota wins next game, if Minnesota wins game 5, I think they're winning the series without a doubt. I think if Vegas wins game 5 and it's 3-2 Vegas, then I think most likely Vegas wins it, but I still could see a road where Minnesota bounces back.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like
6.
It's like Minnesota has won 2 games in a row in this series. So it's like even if they lost game 5 and played well, I'd be like, yeah, maybe Vegas is more likely to win, but like Minnesota could come back.
Yeah. We're on the other hand, like if the Wild win game 5 and they're up 3-2, like I think at that point, based off what I've seen from Vegas, I'd kind of be like, do I really trust them to come back and have another good game? They've played kind of for 4 games in the series. What's the likelihood of them bouncing back and having a good game here? Then again, though, in a game like that, where it's a series-deciding game, that's where the playoff experience sort of comes out a little bit, and Vegas does have that edge over the Wild, of course. So, but hey, so far this might be the most surprising series in the playoffs so far, and I'm loving this series, to be honest. Like, I know earlier on in the year, or earlier on before the playoffs started, when we were doing a playoff preview episode, I kind of said this wasn't my favorite playoff series, but hey, this might be up there in my top 3 right now. Definitely liking what I'm seeing.
Well, it's kind of. I think it's actually a good thing that we're not going to see any sweeps.
Yep.
Now that with every team at least winning a game, am I mistaken? I think I'm right about that. No.
Yeah, every team's
No 3-0, right? Yeah, it was only the Leafs one yesterday that could have potentially been. So I mean that's cool to see too, dude. Right? Like that we're not going to see any sweeps. I think it's not a great look, right? When you see sweeps, they do happen, but. I honestly think that we're set up for a pretty good rest of the first round here. So I'm curious your thoughts. How many game 7s do you think we're getting?
Okay, I'm going to go through the series and I'll say everything. I think we're going to game 7. I think Avs Stars, to be honest, I think we get a game 7 there. I think Panthers Lightning, we get a game 7. And I think Canadiens Capitals, we get a game 7.
Really? Okay.
I think we get 3 game 7s, and those are the 3 there. And then after that, I'll say I think the Wild versus the Knights are the next most likely series to go to a game 7. Like after that, I think Sens versus Leafs, that's not going to a game 7. Devils Canes, that's not going to a game 7. Blues Jets, I think it has the potential to go to game 7. I feel like the Jets though are more likely to win that in 6 games though than let it go to 7. And then
I'd say that's got more of a likelihood going 7 though than the Leafs or the Canes series though.
Yeah, I think it's the 3 that I said that are going to game 7. I think Wild versus the Knights are the next most likely, and then after that I think Blues versus the Jets are the next most likely after the Wild Knights one. And then after that, I think the other ones are kind of 5 or 6 games it's going to end in. What about for you?
I kind of hope we see a couple. I'm going to be honest, I don't think Tampa, Florida is going to 7. I see Colorado and Dallas going to 7. Yeah. And I predicted Montreal's going to 7. I kind of am seeing it now. I think this game tonight's really going to matter, but I kind of see them going to 7 as well, dude.
Yeah, I would love for it to go to 7, man. And I'm looking at it now. Thompson is projected to start today's game. This is
great.
Just projections, but a lot could change here. It'll be interesting though. Overall, though, man. The first week or so of the playoffs, it's been exactly what we wanted. It's going to continue to get better. We're going to be back, of course, at some point next week recording. It's probably going to be doing sort of round 2 playoff preview and then talking about the end of the series for round 1. So stay tuned for next week's episode where we'll be talking about that. But for everybody listening now, thanks for listening in.